Hey guys, it's Tuesday, so I have another tank tip for you. In today's episode, I wanted to talk about what you can do in your fish room after you've outgrown your dehumidifier. That's right, today we're going to talk about heat recovery ventilators. We're going to talk about what they are, how they work, how much they cost, and how you can get one installed for less money than you might think. So stay tuned for episode number 305, where we learn how to be a better aquarist. Alright guys, and here is our diagram of an HRV unit, which is a heat recovery ventilator unit. Now this is a product that was actually designed after houses got a little bit more efficient. Back in the old days, houses would actually leak quite a bit of air, and as people got better at building houses, more efficient at sealing all of the gaps and the air leaks in basements and installing more energy efficient windows, what happened was air tended to stay in the house, which is a good thing. But if you've got an aquarium, if you've got a fish room, or if you've just got a very well sealed house, what happens is you end up having either moist or stale air that sits inside. And this is typically true of the winter months most of all. But in an aquarium or a fish room setting, this happens every single day. And where you can use a dehumidifier, it does get fairly expensive to pull all of that water out of the air, especially when you're recycling that air right back into the room where it's just going to get moist again, and the humidity just kind of goes on a cycle, a repetitive cycle, and you just end up burning a lot of electricity. A heat recovery ventilator works a little bit better, a little bit more efficiently, because what it does is a four-step process. The first thing it does is indoors, it pushes the moist or the stale air that's sitting in your fish room through a core. This is a heat recovery core, okay? So this is warm air that's going into this core. It acts kind of like the radiator in your car. And what gets pulled out by a fan here is that air, but with all of the heat removed from it. And while that's happening, fresh, cool air from outside that has a low humidity is getting pulled into the house from the outdoors. And what happens is it passes through this same core, and the heat that was captured from the indoors is transferred to that cold air, that fresh air that's coming from the outside in this core, and then that fresh air, warm air, gets pushed into the house. So that's kind of a basic diagram of a heat recovery ventilator and how it works. And the reason it's a lot more efficient than something like a dehumidifier is because this can push and pull air at a much faster rate than a dehumidifier ever could. And so you're going to get air turnover in a room, especially in a fish room like this, that you can't otherwise get from a dehumidifier. So if all of this air is turned over once, twice, 3 times a day, that's a lot less energy to blow that air with a fan than what a dehumidifier would take to condense all of that water out of that same volume of air. So it's definitely a lot more efficient. It is a little bit more expensive to install, but it can deal with a large volume of air very quickly. So in terms of heat recovery, a lot of these units are rated at 85% heat recovery. And so that's going to be really good where you have a heat differential between the inside, which is warmer than the outside most of the year, or when the inside is a lot more humid than the outside. And in terms of cost, you're looking at something around $2,000 to $2,500 to get this professionally installed from a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning professional. But there are a lot of programs through your local heat supply companies, energy companies, that will discount the install of a heat recovery ventilator such as this. So what I would recommend is if you have a room or if you have a house and you do have a lot of humidity, if you do have a lot of fish tanks and humidity is a problem, I would contact your energy supply company and ask them if they have any rebates that can go towards a heat recovery ventilator. I know in my area, I believe there are rebates up to $500 to $1,000 for things like this. So all of a sudden, that number becomes a lot more reasonable. And it's going to be a long-term solution that will keep up with the demand that you're producing and the air that you're humidifying in a large space like this, and it's going to protect the investment that is your house or your basement as well, because you don't want to create mold as the result of an operation such as this. So anyways guys, I hope you found that helpful. That's the heat recovery ventilator. I'm planning on having one installed sometime this year before the winter. That's how it works. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later. Hey guys, if you found this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button down below. And if you're just starting your fish room, I would recommend that you get started with an Energy Star rated dehumidifier like the one behind me. So if you're in the market for something like that, please click the link in the description of this video. It all goes to help support this channel and to help you be a better aquarist. Thanks.